Hey there, it is September 9th, Wednesday, 2015, Comic Book Day. As you know, it seems like it comes around once a week now. Um, Anywho, yes, Comic Book Day. Gonna be four videos this week actually, but not too long. Hopefully, trying to keep each one under 20 minutes or so. But yeah, four videos this week. First video, this one, is going to be the Marvel stuff I picked up, as well as, Swords of Sorrow, which will be our first book this week. Next video is going to be the DC books I picked up, again, only three. And then the third video is going to be some independent stuff I picked up this week. And the fourth video, the fourth one, is a kind of a special video. It is my review of The Wicked and the Divine up to this point. I read through the entire series. Issue 14 came out today, and I thought, well, I might as well review everything so far. So, first video, like I said, starting off with Swords of Sorrow, issue number 5, and this one feels a little slapdash, not as strong as a lot of the other issues of this have been. First of all, it kind of feels like I skipped an issue or something. Last issue ended with all of our heroes, heroines, even finally together in one place, about to fight the prince or something like that. They had just scared off some of his enforcers. This issue opens with a couple of those enforcers looking from a Mexican pyramid onto Shanghai and kind of wondering if they picked the wrong side in this fight. If maybe they should be with the prince and with our heroes instead of siding with the prince. And then we cut to our heroes, all of them gathered together, with narration by Jonna the Wild Girl, who feels a bit out of place, is starting to doubt herself and her abilities in all this. She's a lot younger than the rest of the cast. She doesn't have as much experience fighting. So she says she just feels overall outclassed and like she doesn't belong. Meanwhile, all the other women in the group are talking. Okay, so how are we going to do this? What are our chances of survival? And then they are visited by the Traveler, and the Traveler says, like, basically, I'm the one who gave you these swords. I'm the one who put you on this mission. So this is what you have to do. Gives them instructions. Says that only Vampirella, Tharja, and Sonia are able to damage the prince. They're the only ones capable of it. The rest are just there as kind of backup to be their army. And the team splits up, where we have the main three journey across the land. Does it say where they are now? Here? Doesn't say where they are now, but the main three, Vampirella, Sonia, and Tharja, are going here to attack the prince while he is weakened, because he makes his army out of his own blood. While all the other women are going here to the Traveler's Castle in order to defend Snow White. So we have a kind of a double raid going on. The prince is gathering his forces to raid the Traveler's Tower in order to get Snow White back. Meanwhile, you have our main three doing a raid on the prince's base in order to kill the prince. We then get a bit of what's going on at each of the bases. So we have the Traveler's attending to Snow White, and Snow White wishes that she could help more. She feels like she's just trapped in this tower and she's not helping anybody, even though they're all here to defend her. And we have the prince. I guess I could show this page because they're not actually showing nudity. But the prince is having one last little, what does he call it? Animal rutting with purgatory before he cuts himself to turn his blood into his army. Then the team separates, so we have the women guarding the tower, while Sonia and that trio goes off to fight the prince, as I said, and the book kind of ends there with each side meeting their opposition. Um, so yeah, like it seems like a lot goes on, but it's really kind of slapdash. You don't get a lot of depth into all of these things. A lot of this issue, as I said, was narrated by the Jungle Girl, who's experiencing all this doubt suddenly that she doesn't belong here, that she can't provide any help. As we get her perspective on things, but it doesn't help color the overall story that much. Um, we get a lot of repeat exposition, and I'm wondering why we did that exactly. Um, but yeah, just kind of a weak link in this mini series, to be completely honest. But it doesn't even feel like a necessary one. The only thing necessary that really happens is we have the team split up, and so we see, so part of the team is over here now, while another part is going somewhere else. Yeah, and it still feels like we might have missed an issue in between somewhere, just in terms of where all the characters are on the map. Next up, we have The Last Days of Miss Marvel issue 18. And this is still not the last issue. I thought this would be the last issue of Miss Marvel, but apparently there's one more. There's one more finale issue. But this one, I feel this one does a pretty good job wrapping up. I don't really know what the last issue is going to be. And there is a twist introduced at the very end of this last issue, but it's hard to see where it's going to go. I don't know how they're going to make the whole issue out of just what they present at the end of this one. But anyway, this issue, we have Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel, Carol and Camilla, rescuing Amir, Camilla's brother, from the Terrigen Mist. He was kidnapped by Camilla's ex-boyfriend and dragged, and the ex-boyfriend's convinced that he has superpowers. Surprise, surprise, he does. And we get a great little character beat with Amir here. After he wakes up from the Terrigen Mist and finds out that he does have superpowers, and he fights off Cameron, the boyfriend or ex-boyfriend, on his own. And he has this great speech about how everyone through these past 18 issues, Amir has been kind of a loser. Everyone's like, oh, he's a loser, he's a square, all he does is his religious study and whatever. And we have him defend his character and say, I don't care what other people think, I'm having fun. I like studying my religion, I like being kind of a square, I don't want superpowers, I want to be who I am, and I'm happy who I am. And so he has that great little character moment there. And Kamala recognizes, oh wait, no, he's my brother, of course he loves me. He's angry at me all the time, but he still loves me, we're just different. So you have that moment there. And then after that short little fight, the issue kind of winds down. Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel deliver a tired Amir back to the school, and Captain Marvel gives one last, this is the end of everything, but I'm glad I met you. You're, doing a good job around here. Thanks for keeping the Miss Marvel name going on, or whatever. And then we have a little last ending twist, and I like the ending here. I actually do, because the ending we have Amir coming, waking up. He's he's been fainting this whole issue, so now he's awake, now he's all better, and he's having this conversation with Kamala, and he keeps on blaming her. He's like, why weren't you there? Because he doesn't know that his sister is Miss Marvel. So he's like, you don't know what I've been through, you have no idea what it's like to have to adjust to all these superpowers. And of course, Kamala is like, what do you, she can't, just this face, you don't understand. And we have her make this face here, because of course, we know she does, but he doesn't. And we had a bit of these, last few pages where, despite it being the end of the world, everything returns to normal. Where you have this continuation of the family drama dynamic and all that. And, that's why I think this would have made a good final issue, because at the very end, at these last few pages here, we get a return to normal. And it shows how even at the end of the world, families will be families, Even when everything else is falling apart, you still have that recognizable family dynamic. But there's one last little twist at the end that I guess is going to propel us into the next issue. But yeah, this was I'd say stop here. I'd say this is a good stopping point for Miss Marvel as we have it. As the issue's going so far, as the series rather has been going on so far. So a pretty a bit too neat, but a nice little bow to top off this series. Can't really say I complain. Can't really say I didn't like it. And the last book of this video is going to be the last Marvel book I picked up this week, heading out of Secret Wars, is Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, issue 5. And I really like this issue. It makes sense. There's not a lot of big twists here. Everything pays off just as you would expect it to. And it pays off. It's just a really neat payoff. It's really enjoyable. We have the final attack on Regent, with the entire Underground coming to fight Regent and save all the heroes that he's captured over the years. And we just see everyone kick ass. We have Annie and Mary Jane kick ass as they try to find Peter and rescue him. Just Annie showing off more of her powers, and Mary Jane just being going like full mama bear. And she even has this great moment where they're discussing like code names and stuff, because Annie wants to be called Amp, and so he asks Mary Jane, what's your code name gonna be? And she says, I've already got one, Mom. And like she just goes full mama bear, and it's great. As she like prepares to find and rescue her husband. Meanwhile, we have a bit of Peter monologue as Peter is trapped and slowly kind of losing consciousness in this tube, and he says how his life is flashing before his eyes. And we get that, like, as we see, there's no Spider-Man stuff. It's all like family stuff, and we see what's really been most important to him over the years. And then, of course, he hears his family as they're attacked by Regent. He overhears his family crying for help, and he bursts out of the tube. And Mary Jane went all Mama Bear. Now we have Peter going all Papa Bear on Regent, and it's just great. We see that now that he has his family. There's this great line. Just so many great moments in this book where Peter's slowly dying or losing consciousness or whatever. But he hears, and it's great. So he's like, I'm fading, all of my strength gone. We have, I have no power. But then he hears his family. He breaks out of the tube. He's like, I have no power, and then his monologue continues. Only responsibility, as he breaks out and attacks Regent to defend Mary Jane and Annie, and it's great. And then at the very end, of course, you have the whole family coming together to fight. It's such a great book. It's such a good payoff of everything that it's built up. It's like, it's expected. It goes exactly where you think it's gonna go. But it really earns it. You really feel like it earns its ending. It earns all the character moments, all the character beats, like play out as you'd expect, but they play out so well that it's such a big payoff. It's dominoes. It really is dominoes. It's one small domino tipping over a slightly bigger domino, and you can see it coming from miles away, but that last domino falls, and it's just so fulfilling. It feels so great. And at the same time, I'm a little teased because I want this to go on. I like this Peter Parker. I like Spider-Man as a dad. I like Mary Jane. I like Annie Mae. But knowing that we're not going to have this anymore, like this is a what if, a could have been, and I want more of it. I kind of don't want to go back to the Peter Parker we're going to go back to after Secret Wars. I want this story to continue because it's been so good. And like it's good on its own. It's a great Spider-Man story, just in terms of bringing all the familiar Spider-Man storylines and all the familiar Spider-Man themes and motifs. With great power comes great responsibility. The fact that he's always been trading his family for Spider-Man. Now that he has a family, he realizes he can't. It's just so great, and I wish there were more of it. But at the same time, I'm glad that we have it. This is 5 issues. It's a great 5-issue story. If you like Spider-Man at all, I heavily recommend it. I wouldn't say it makes up for like One More Day, which is obviously what it's playing on. It's the what would have happened to Spider-Man if there hadn't been one more day. And it doesn't make up for everything that came after and all the. It doesn't make up for One More Day just as a comparing merits. Like, this is not as good as One More Day is bad. But just having this feels so good and works out so well. So I'm glad we got it. I'm glad we got this Spider-Man story because it is a very, very good one. And that is it for part 1 of this week's reviews. As I said, coming up, we got some DC stuff. We got some indie stuff. Batman 44, Bitch Planet number 5. And then, again, later, we have the Wicked and the Divine reviews coming up. So if you're interested, please watch that. That should be fun. But thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a good rating. If you want to subscribe, please do. Always glad to have more of you on board. And any comments, questions, anything whatsoever, feel free to leave them in the comments. Like I said, thank you for watching, and I hope you'll join me for more comic book reviews.